the behaviors of most people are not their own. The elite, or the ones who possess all the wealth and power, want to be able to control human behavior. They want people to just follow along with their agendas and not ask questions. However, they know that people have different personalities, and so they can't expect everyone to have the same interests. So obviously, they can't make everyone act exactly the same way, although they would probably like to. So what they have done is created stereotypes, or characters, like in the movie The Breakfast Club, in which all the main stereotypical characters people know of are portrayed together in detention, and we are supposed to identify with one of the characters. Obviously, there are more examples than just The Breakfast Club, although generally, the stereotypes are always the same. All the characters that are portrayed in movies, which the audience is supposed to identify with, all fall in line with the agendas of the elite in some way. The nerd or smart person is going to do everything by the book, as well as the jock or athlete, which will render them completely brainwashed. The degenerates will continue their detrimental lifestyle, which will cause them to be either homeless or at best just another cog in the machine. There are some movies that may perhaps be an exception and include a character who thinks more for themselves, like the movie The Matrix. Most people who have seen The Matrix probably want to identify with Neo, although it's obvious that many people are actually more like Cypress, the person in the movie who betrayed Neo and the other main characters in order that he could return to living in the Matrix in ignorant bliss. Oftentimes the main characters in movies have nihilistic perspectives on life. Perhaps they are atheists or they are angry at God. Much of the time the main character will have a very materialistic mentality. It's also common for them to promote very liberal ideologies. No one would actually know of all these different stereotypes in movies if they had never watched movies or TV shows. These stereotypes are not necessarily real personalities, but rather an invention of the elite. Imagine how much differently people must have behaved before the invention of the television. From the time they are very young, children are shown movies, TV shows, different kinds of music, and now YouTube or other social media videos. And the impressionable child may start to behave similar to the main characters in the shows they've been watching. And this is how the elites have essentially created all of our personalities. Every truther knows what controlled opposition is, which is the idea that the elites are in control of both parties or camps of thought. So no matter which one you associate with, you are still essentially falling in line with their agenda. They have done that same thing on a more individual level with these stereotypes portrayed in movies or TV shows, as well as music. Each one works towards their agenda. So no matter which character you identify with, you are still behaving the way they want you to behave. Obviously, you can break free from it and have original thoughts and behaviors. However, with all the peer pressure children receive, they are likely to take up many behaviors which are similar to the ones portrayed in movies. I know that for myself, there were many things I thought were cool or funny when I was younger that later in life I realized were stupid and reckless. And obviously people usually become wiser as they get older anyways. But most people still hold on to many things they enjoyed when they were younger, which keeps them controlled to some degree. It's obvious that no one really becomes famous organically, except for possibly a degree of internet fame. People who are famous enough to be household names have likely been compromised by the elite. Most of the time, it's some form of blackmail, where the handlers of the celebrities likely gather photographic or video evidence of celebrities committing crimes or perverted actions. And if the celebrities ever try to expose what's going on, they will use that evidence against them. P. Diddy and Bill Cosby are possibly some examples of celebrities that, for whatever reason, angered the ones in control of them, so their reputation was destroyed. Also, Michael Jackson's name was dragged through the mud after his death and was accused of pedophilic actions. He was one of the celebrities who I believe may have wanted to expose many secrets of the Illuminati. I don't believe only certain celebrities are involved in child trafficking and pedophilia, but rather the vast majority of them, at least the ones who are famous enough to be considered A-list celebrities. I believe most of the time, celebrities are brought up in families that have a history of child abuse, and the victims grow up to be victimizers themselves. Some celebrities might not want to continue the vicious cycle and try to escape or expose what's going on. but usually they are deemed crazy or not credible for some reason, or they completely ruin their reputation with blackmail or perhaps just blatant lies. So I believe that just about every actor or actress or musician that has a big enough influence on the masses must comply with what the elite want, which means they can't expose any of the corruption, and they must promote certain behaviors or beliefs. So it doesn't matter if you're a preppy kid in high school who listens to pop music, or if you're a rebel kid who listens to metal music. Either way, your behaviors are heavily influenced by the elite, since the music or movies you enjoy are essentially a creation of the elite. It's quite obvious that much of the rap or pop music is equally as satanic as heavy metal music, and really everything between has occult or satanic messages embedded within it. There is a very interesting documentary you can find called They Sold Their Soul for Rock and Roll, which exposes the satanic or occult themes that almost every musician or band from the time of Elvis up until the 90s portrayed in their music. As someone who is a fan of rock music, I would like to believe that not every band is involved in the occult. However, it would appear that the majority probably are. There may be some exceptions, although I don't believe I could name any for certain. I just think that it's interesting how different groups of people seem to have a type of music they enjoy. Like people who enjoy horror films, or maybe considered rebellious or somewhat of an outcast, would most likely enjoy metal music. Or people who enjoy using psychedelics. All seem to love bands like the Grateful Dead. Preppy people who wear the most expensive clothing and things like that all likely enjoy pop music. And obviously, you get all kinds of combinations. It's almost like these bands are gatekeepers in some way. So you pretty much can't associate with certain groups of people unless you enjoy the music and other forms of entertainment that they enjoy. And so you must also be influenced by whatever occult messages are in the music or movies that the group you are trying to associate with are fond of. At the very least, those people will introduce you to whatever music or movies they like, which could potentially influence your behavior in some way. I believe one of the main goals the elite are trying to achieve is demoralize people. I believe they are also trying to hide the existence of God in some way. When people are more nihilistic and materialistic, and they believe in theories such as evolution, then they likely are not very concerned with the afterlife. So many movies allude to the idea that our existence is pretty much meaningless, that there are so many other worlds out there, or universes, to the point that our world or universe is microscopic in comparison, and therefore is insignificant. They make it appear as if God doesn't exist, and everything was just created by some random explosion. Or other movies make it seem as if some type of advanced alien species created the world, which makes people believe that the Bible is meaningless, along with other sacred texts. It creates a world of people who are selfish and lazy. No one cares to be helpful because there's no need to be a good person in the first place. The same thing happens to everyone when they die, no matter how good of a person they were. So why even try? I have noticed that newer movies seem to have less stereotypical characters. That basically, most of the characters in new movies have very similar personalities and behaviors. Like I said earlier, the elite probably want to make everyone act exactly the same way. Well, it would appear that they are taking baby steps in that direction. Where before there seemed to be more types of people in movies, now there only seems to be one or two types of people in movies. Usually the main characters have very liberal ideas. Everyone is tolerant and accepting of others. Which I agree, we should be kind to other people. We should not just accept any kind of behavior. There seems to no longer be any nerds or uncool people in movies. Everyone is cool, whether they're gay, straight, or ugly, or fat, or whatever. We shouldn't make fun of people. However, if someone is overweight, we shouldn't encourage them to remain in an unhealthy state. And the same goes for many other things. Like if someone is really unintelligent, we should encourage them to learn new things. Remember that the overall goal of the elite is to have a one-world government, a world where they can control everything and everyone. These themes of tolerance and acceptance in movies is how they manipulate the minds of the masses into accepting that reality. Also remember that the Antichrist is going to come in the name of peace and love. Essentially, the end goal of the whole tolerance agenda is to take away our right to free speech. Now we hear of things like body shaming and other terms like that, which eventually will lead to it being illegal to call someone fat, even if they are clearly fat. And that's just one example. It will get to the point that you can't say anything that someone else might find offensive, even if you're telling the truth. So in new movies, I have noticed that for the most part, everyone agrees on the same things, except for possibly the antagonist. There are obviously many different reasons the elite create movies and promote certain musicians, such as predictive programming or just other occult-like messages. However, I think one of the main reasons for it is to shape the behaviors of the audience. People grow up watching movies and TV shows, and they start listening to certain music, and they build their personality around all the media that they enjoy, from the way they dress, act, talk, and even to the beliefs that they have. The elite have in a way manufactured the behaviors of many people, which has allowed them to strip us all of many rights and accept all kinds of warped ideologies. And this works towards their goal of a one-world government, where it is like the book 1984. Everything we do will be monitored, and it will be considered a crime to even think differently. In regard to his book 1984, George Orwell said this: "If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever." The moral to be drawn from this dangerous nightmare situation is a simple one. Don't let it happen. It depends on you.